Now, I want to talk about what actually happened on the seas. And to her credit, Ann Scott Tyson of the Washington Compost does a very nice job. She writes, the operation to rescue Captain Richard Phillips involved dozens of Navy SEALs who parachuted from an aircraft into the scene near dark Saturday, landing in the ocean. The SEALs were part of a group of special operations forces involved in the effort, according to military officials. The SEALs set up operations on the USS Bainbridge, which had been communicating with the four pirates via radio and had used smaller boats to make deliveries of food and water to their lifeboat. Yet the pirates were growing increasingly agitated, the officials said. At one point Saturday, the pirates opened fire on one of the smaller U.S. Navy craft that approached. As the seas grew rougher, the Bainbridge offered to tow the lifeboat to calmer waters, and the pirates agreed, linking up the lifeboat to the destroyer with a towing cable that left 75 to 80 feet between the two vessels. Phillips at the time was tied up in the lifeboat, having been bound and occasionally beaten by the pirates ever since he had attempted to escape by jumping into the water on Friday, the officials said. Now you can tell this isn't a leak from political hacks from the White House. This is information gotten by military means or intelligence means. Meanwhile, one of the pirates, estimated to be between 16 and 20 years old, asked to come aboard the Bainbridge to make a phone call. He'd been stabbed in the hand during an altercation with the crew of the Maersk, Alabama, and needed medical care. He effectively gave himself up, a senior military official said. The Navy then allowed the pirate to speak with the others in hopes that he could persuade them to give up. The three other pirates, however, showed signs of growing irritation as the Bainbridge, 18 miles from shore, towed the lifeboat further out to sea, the senior military official said. They had no promise of money, clearly no passage. The one ticket they had was the captain, said the official, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to discuss the matter on record. But again, you can tell it's not an Obama hack. In the last discussion, they said, if we don't get what we want, we will kill the captain, the official said. Soon afterward, two pirates moved to one of the hatches of the lifeboat and stuck their heads out. The third pirate advanced toward the captain and pointed his AK-47 straight at Phillips' back, the rifle touching it or inches away, the official said. U.S. military observers thought that Phillips was about to be shot. SEAL snipers, who were positioned on a deck at the stern of the Bainbridge, an area known as the Fantail, had the three pirates in their sights. The on-scene commander gave the snipers authority to fire. I wish we knew who it was. As soon as the snipers had a clear shot at the guy who had the rifle, they shot him and the other two in the hatches, the senior military official said. A member of the special operations team slid down the tow line into the water and climbed aboard the lifeboat. Phillips was then put in a small craft and taken to the Bainbridge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are many things here worth noting. That is the bravery of the kidnapped captain, who did all he could to save his crew, and then himself. The bravery of these Navy SEALs, and by the way, their superb marksmanship, because those were rough waters. And apparently, as this reads, they only saw partial heads of two of the pirates. And the commander on the scene who ordered the action, the use of force. Because it is that commander's head who would be on the chopping block today if something went wrong. Not Obama's, who would be passing the buck for the reasons I stated last week and stated in the replay of the audio today, but the commander's head would be on the chopping block. The President of the United States at the urging of his lawyers, signed 2 legal documents, in my view, which were superfluous. The United States military does not need authority to use force to protect or secure a U.S. citizen who's under threat of murder by lawless individuals, in this case pirates. We're not talking about going to war with a nation state. We're not talking about any provocation on our part. We're talking about a nation defending its own citizens on the high seas. The fact that the Obama administration over-lawyered this and that the president signed these 2 documents giving general authority to use military might, should they need to use military might on the high seas, doesn't exactly make him the great leader that they're trying to portray him as. And the reason I went through this Ann Scott Tyson's piece in the Washington Compost is so you could understand what was going on and how quickly, in the end, somebody had to make a decision. Somebody had to strategize on how to do this. And it wasn't out of the Oval Office. In fact, it wasn't in the White House at all. It was right there on the scene by the commander, whose name I do not know, and you do not know, unless they put it out during the course of this program, and I'm not aware of it. Now, hopefully that'll put this to bed, at least as far as this audience is concerned.